this meeting, Yamraj stage didn't arrive. Probably, eventually. It's not his thing. It's not his thing. It's not his thing to come to festivals. I don't, he doesn't like it. He comes, to play something. Yeah, that's
means for your life. Okay, so welcome everybody for our Saturday home, for our Abhisek, for Shishi Radhika Giri Radhiki.
Jai!
And this is a very special event because we have so many. Can you turn on the light on the singer? They've just put on. We have so many guests here online. And we have not so many here because we are unfortunately in a little lockdown just to be responsible to some cases of some flu or whatever it is, but we didn't want to risk it, so please forgive us if we make this step, but we try to act responsible. And so still be very, very happy to announce that we will now make the divine bathing ceremony of the divine couple, Shishi Radhika Giridhari. This is our temple deities of Radha and Krishna, and they're worshipped on Janmashtami and Radhastami. And therefore we making this very small Abhisek. Tomorrow is a bigger Abhisek because tomorrow we want to announce also we have also in the same time, because of the low temple situation, same time 4 o'clock. Eastern Europe time? Yes. No, Central time. European time, thank you. Central European time, we will have the bathing ceremony of Shishi Prahlad Lakshmi Singadev, because this is the day where the Lord appeared here in the temple, means he was installed this year 39 years ago, and this means next year
41.
40. This Arabic calculation.
Yes.
Yeah, next year will be 40 years anniversary, and this we want to really celebrate in a big scale. So mark it in your calendar, and tomorrow be there as well online and see how the Lord is bathed and worshipped. So what we do here is the Abhisek. It's only the priests who bathing the lordships, so please don't mind. It's much more convenient if you really can sit there and give your eyes the darshan of seeing this wonderful ceremony. That's very, very auspicious. And as I always like to point out, we see and we saw so many nasty things in our lives. We used our eyes in seeing so many nasty things, and this is it purifies our vision. It should purify our vision. Therefore, we give this darshan, this very sparse darshan, to our eyes and to our consciousness. And with this darshan, we try to bathe the lordships with the holy name. So therefore, please join in the chanting and make it really a deep kirtan where we really try to connect. And really, when you say Hare, then you think of Radharani, or you look at Radharani. When you say Krishna or Rama, then you look at Krishna. So in this way, you really, really try to connect, and please ask her for the blessings of course, that we get all purified and can serve her as a community here in Simhachalam, but also wider as the community of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And in this way make really an impact on this situation. So like the world looks nowadays, the world nowadays is in need of Vaishnavas. It's in great need. So therefore, please engage us, Radharani, that we can serve you. Shri Shri Radhika Giridhari Ki Jai. Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Singadev Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hari Om Sahana Avatu Sahana
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo bolo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo.
Halbe Stunde ist noch gegangen.
Maybe someone else does. Oh, you want to sing? I cannot sing.
Nandi Mukhi. Yeah.
Wie lange bist du?
I can bring them. I can just bring them.
Did you sing? I can play. Left. Du hast left side?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Premanande Hiri Hiri Bo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gora Premanande.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namo Prabhupada Priyadasaya Jagannatha Yatrananda Murtaye Bhakta Sukaya Krishnot-kirtanena Nrisinghena Rakshataya Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Deutsch oder Englisch? Englisch. Englisch, Englisch, Deutsch, Englisch. Wer kann übersetzen? Du kannst übersetzen gut, oder? Ich kenne dich als Übersetzerin. Dann kannst du ins Deutsche übersetzen? Weil ich habe gerade in Englisch das Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nee, aber ein Handy. Ich würde sonst ein Handy, ich habe leider kein Adi Lila auf Deutsch gefunden. Okay, wir machen es ganz fair. Wer spricht kein Englisch? Who doesn't speak German? Ja, so we have to do in English, ja. So, sie wird übersetzen ins Deutsch. Ich gebe es dir hier. Achso, muss man mal Deutschsprache noch ändern. Gibt es überhaupt Deutsch? Dann wieder weiß schon, oder? Das Internet ist schwach hier. You have a phone with... Hast du, weil meins hat gerade kein Internet. Auf Deutsch. Im Database? So, wir lesen aus dem Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, we will chant the introductory mantra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, we are reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 7, verse 18 and 19. Okay, I'll chant a few more mantras to bridge it. Jayatam surato pangur mamamanda matirgati matsarvasva padam vajo radhamadana mohano divyad virindaranya kalpadrumada srimadratangara simhasanasto srimadrada srila Govinda deva uprishthalivi savimano Shrimandra sarasaramvi vamsiva tadatastitaha karsham veno svanar gopir gopinatha shriyestunaha tapta kanchana gaurangi radhe vrindavaneshwari vrishavanu sutta devi pranamami hari priye tapta kanchana gaurangi radhe vrindavaneshwari vrishavanu sutta devi pranamami hari priye tapta kanchana gaurangi radhe vrindavaneshwari vrishavanu sutta devi pranamami hari priye. Seid ihr bereit? Fast. So Adi Leela, chapter 7, verse 18 and 19. Okay. Yan sabalana prabhura nitya vihara Yan sabalana prabhura kirtana prachara Yan sabalana karena prema svadhana Yan sabalana dhana kare prema dhana. Okay, word by word, please repeat. Yan sabha, all. Lana, lanya, taking company. Prabhura, of the Lord. Nitya, eternal. Vihara, pastime. Yansabha, all those who are. Lanya, taking company. Prabhura, of the Lord. Kirtana, Sankirtana. Prachara, movement. Yansabha, persons with whom. Lanya, in accompaniment. Karena, he does. Prema, love of God. Asvadhana, asvadhana, taste. Yansabha, those who are. Lanya, in accompaniment. Dhanakare, gives in charity. Premadhana, love of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And we are reading from a very old book. This book was printed 1973. So original Chaitanya Charitamrita. Fresh from press, when Prabhupada was still on the planet. So, translation on purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtana movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love. And only with them does He distribute this love of God to people in general. One more time. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. So the internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. And then, only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtana movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love. And only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. Purport: distinguishing between pure devotees and internal or conjugal confidential devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami in his book Upadeshamrita traces the following gradual process of development. Out of many thousands of karmis, one is better when he is situated in perfect Vedic knowledge. Out of many such learned scholars and philosophers, one who is actually liberated from material bondage is better. And out of many such persons who are actually liberated, one who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered to be the best. Among the many such transcendental lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the gopis are the best. And among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the best. Srimati Radhika is very dear to Lord Krishna. And similarly, her pawns, namely Shyamakunda and Radhakunda, are also very much dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura comments in his Anubhasya that among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies, Shakti tattva, and the 3 others are energetic, Shaktiman tattva. Unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. They are all understood to be pure devotees. And those among them who simply engage in conjugal love are called Madhurya Bhaktas, or internal devotees. The potential loving service in parental love, fraternity, and servitude are included in conjugal love of God. In conclusion, therefore, every confidential devotee is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys his pastimes with his immediate expansion Nityananda Prabhu, his pure devotees and his 3 Purusha incarnations, namely Karanadakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Kshiradakashaya Vishnu, always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtana movement. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Read the verse one more time. Yan Sabalanya Prabhura Nitya Vihara Yan Sabalanya Prabhura Kirtana Prachara Yan Sabalanya Karena Prema Asvadhana Yan Sabalanya Dhana Kari Prema Dhana. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtana movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love, and only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. So we know that Prabhupada very often emphasized the point that Krishna is not alone. That's a very important point. Krishna is never alone. And Prabhupada made even sure when sometimes his disciples depicted Krishna in a picture just by himself, Prabhupada said, no, the picture is not complete. You know? You need to add somebody. You know? A peacock, you know, a cow, or Srimati Radharani. You know? or some other cowherd boys. Somebody has to be there. Krishna is not alone. So this verse is emphasizing this a lot, that Krishna, he comes whenever he does anything, basically speaking, he is always in the company of his very intimate internal associates, or in other words, in technical terms, you could say his internal potencies. His potencies, his shaktis, his energies, they always will be accompanying him. Like, for example, when we dress Nrsimha every day, we always put Lakshmi Devi on his chest, very important, and sometimes I forget, and then the Mukhi always comes and tells me, Govinda, I think Lakshmi Ji is missing, So Lakshmi is always on the chest of the Lord. So the Lord is always accompanied by by his energies. He's inseparable from those energies. They're literally always present with him. They're not separable. It's impossible to think of the Lord being alone. And here we have this 4 lines. Yan sabalanya prabhuda nitya vihara. So it's basically, in Bengali, it's always the same formula. That Yan sabalanya, he's always taking the company, the Lord, of nitya vihara. For all his pastimes, he's coming with some company. Then Yan sabalanya prabhuda kirtanena prachara. Kirtanena prachara. Easy to understand, no? So it means to preach the kirtan, to spread Sankirtan. Whenever he comes to spread the Sankirtan, he's also coming with his associates. And that's, of course, especially referring to his pastime as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Panchatattva, where he appeared with his, the Panchatattva, the 5 main features, they came together, and they always appear again and again and again and again. It's not only the Panchatattva, we worship the Panchatattva as one unit in connection to the Chaitanya Lila, but actually the Panchatattva is present in every Lila. There is no Lila where the Panchatattva is not present. They're always present. Just in a slight different manifestations, different names, but the Panchatattva is always there. So, for example, in Ram Lila, we have Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna, and also we have Sita Devi. And in Krishna Lila also we have Pradyumna, Niruddha, Vasudeva or Krishna, Sankarshana, and also we have different forms of Shakti, Radharani or Rukmini. So the Panchatattva always appear in any situation. Then the next line says, Jansaba Lanya Karina Prema Asvadhana. Prema Asvadhana. To taste Prema Asvadhana. Let me see what Asvadhana means. Taste. Yeah, okay. Prema Asvadhana, taste. To taste Prema, to taste the mellow of conjugal love, Prabhupada translates. To taste the mellow of conjugal love, Krishna also always is, in connection with his devotees. The mellow of conjugal love will not be there if Krishna would be alone. The mellow of conjugal love is always in exchange with his devotees. And this is a very important and very interesting aspect of our philosophy, because we are convinced that the original situation is the situation of the most intense relationships, the most intense forms of love, of exchange, of drama also, of pleasure, of let's say connection and separation, whereas some people might be confused when they think of, when they hear the pastimes we heard today morning, for example, Atmaram Prabhu, he was telling some really beautiful pastimes, and for a devotee they're very relishable and endearing, and just beautiful to hear. But for somebody who is not convinced about the supreme position of Krishna, they might think this is some, funny stories, some funny stories, of Krishna smuggling himself into the house of Radharani, in the jewelry box, How can God do that, It's so immoral, and this is only a tiny particle or part of the drama of Vrindavan, Vrindavan is so dramatic, Vrindavan is so dramatic. There's nothing more dramatic than Vrindavan. The Brajvasis are the most dramatic devotees. I heard this story that, for example, when Krishna left Vrindavan, all the devotees in Vrindavan were so, sad and dejected, and they didn't see any purpose anymore really in life. So they decided to engage the best brahmanas to make yagyas to bring Krishna back. So they were part of Vedic culture, so they thought this is a good idea. It's like many people, if you have some problem in your astrology, you do some yagya, some shani shanti, and you pay a Brahmin, and he will chant 11,000 times the shani mantra for you, one whole week, and then he will make a big homa for you, and you have to give him a lot of money, Very expensive, Brahmanas are very expensive. But actually, it's said that Brahmanas are especially expensive, not because of the how much the dakshin you have to give them, or how expensive the ceremonies are, because the ceremonies are also very expensive. You need to buy so much ghee, so many ingredients, and special items, and so many things. But actually, the reason why Brahmanas are so expensive is because they love prasadam. And it's true, in traditional culture, even nowadays in South India, they say, so if you want to invite, a whole bunch of brahmanas, 50% budget to feed them, 50% budget to do the ceremony, And that's also bona fide, In the Bhagavatam, we have a few places where it says that it's better to use the ghee to make food to feed the brahmanas than to put into the fire. It's a better use of ghee. It pleases Krishna more if you feed the brahmanas than if you just pour it into the fire. So like that, the Brajvasis, they decided, no matter how much it costs, we're going to engage as many brahmanas as possible, the best of them, the most voracious brahmanas, big brahmanas, who can chant very loudly, Vedic mantras, perfect intonation, but also eat a lot of prasadam, So they spend actually all their wealth, all their wealth. And Vrindavan is very wealthy, actually. Vrindavan actually is more opulent than Vaikuntha, much more opulent than Vaikuntha. We generally think of Vaikuntha as Aishvarya, Aishvarya Bhava is, very opulent. But like we read here, all the different forms of rasa are included in Madhurya Rasa. Madhurya Rasa includes and surpasses everything. So in Vrindavan, they have very expensive jewelry, but they prefer to cover it with flowers, because flowers are more beautiful. So for them, the jewelry is not so important. They have it. It's like in Peru, actually, when the Spaniards came to Peru, to South America, gold was just a utensil for, it was a common metal. Gold was not coveted, like something you want to steal, something you want to, Gold was a common metal. It was commonly used, and therefore people didn't lock it or hide it, So when the Spaniards came, they were shocked, to see the Peruvians just, they were just Incas, Mayans also. They had gold just lying around, using for different things, It was an old piece of gold, you throw it away, Singari Bhagavan ki jai. So in a similar way, the Brajvasis, they don't value, even they're much more opulent than Vaikuntha, it's not real value, it's just something they have. So they spend all of it, all of it to make this yagyas, all of it. And their descriptions, there are heaps, of different stones and jewelry and gold and silver, and they spend it all, So when Krishna, after many, many years, came back to Vrindavan, they had spent all their money, everything, maybe even they sold their houses, but the description is basically they had nothing left, They just spent it all, Super dramatic, Krishna is gone, let's just spend all the money to get him back. Let the brahmanas, do ceremonies to bring him back. That was their only hope they had left. So it's very interesting and very beautiful also, and not so easy to understand for an outsider. Why would you do that? Why don't they just go to Mathura or Dwarka? They also did sometimes. But many devotees also, you will hear, very advanced devotees, they just decide, Krishna is gone, I'm just going to jump from the Govardhan hill. What's the use of life, I'm just going to jump from the Govardhan hill and die. Very dramatic, very extreme. So the Madhurya Bhava, the sentiments of the devotees of Vrindavan is very extreme, very powerful, very, very deep. And among all these devotees in Vrindavan, the gopis are considered to be the best. The gopis are considered to be the best. They are the ones who suffered the most, who exhibited the most separation. When Krishna was about to leave Vrindavan, they were rolling on the ground. They were throwing themselves in front of the chariot. Don't go! Super dramatic. Very, very, heart-wrenching. But among all of them, Radharani is the most, it's a super supreme. And actually, it's very interesting because for many, many years when I heard about Radha and Krishna in Gurukul, for us always it was Srimati Radharani. That's her name, Srimati Radharani. We never heard Radhe Radhe, that you hear when you go to Vrindavan, Everybody's saying Radhe Radhe. But her position is Srimati Radharani. So Radharani means she is the queen. Rani means queen. She's the queen. She's the topmost. She's the supreme among the gopis. And today morning we heard about this very beautiful Abhisekam, and this Madhurya Mahotsava, named Madhava Mahotsava. Atmaram Prabhu was telling the story, retelling the story, trying to retell, this amazing narration by Jiva Goswami, I think, about how Radharani was coronated, officially as Vrindavaneshwari, the queen of Vrindavan. Very amazing, beautiful Abhishek was performed, because traditionally not only deities were bathed, also when a king was coronated, or a queen, in the case of Radharani, or when a great acharya was coronated, or installed as the acharya of a mat, like for example Ramanujacharya, for example, they performed, live Abhishek, So the guru was sitting there, or Radharani was sitting there, and they made a full Abhishek, of the living person, not just the deity. It's not just for deities, It's not just, that's a deity. We can do it with the deity, all this, put all these funny things on the deity. The deity won't mind, Actually, Abhishekams were performed for real people, traditionally, as well. So Radharani was installed as the queen of Vrindavan. She was installed as the queen of Vrindavan. She, of course, is the queen of Vrindavan. There's no need to, install her in one sense. But it's all a pastime, it's all lila and pastime. And it's all part of the drama of Vrindavan, that, Krishna had agreed to install Chandravali, as the queen of Vrindavan, And then big drama, we heard today morning, big drama, And then Radharani was installed as the actual king. All the gopis, they were making campaign, The Sakis of Radharani were campaigning for Radharani. No, we have to install Radharani, She's the queen, And many amazing pastimes. And Atmaram Prabhu was also mentioning about the mood of Radharani, how and why she is supreme. And that should not be imitated, That should not be imitated. Because she is left wing, you know. She's left wing, and Chandravali is right wing, you know. So right wing means you follow the rules and regulations. You're very much, you know, you could say in line, you know, with what is supposed to be, and you want to, you know, emulate the perfect behavior, and you're very much, how to say, endeavoring to avoid any mistakes, you know. So you're really trying very sincerely to do the right thing, you know. And that's nice, you know, and very good, but there is something deeper, you know. So nothing to be compared with, you know, modern politics, you know, left wing and right wing, but you can get an idea still, you know? Left wing is a different mood, you know. It's not so much about the rule, it's much more about the principle, you know. So Radharani does not hesitate to be rebellious towards Krishna, you know. Radharani is externally rebellious towards Krishna, you know. While internally, she's in anxiety to lose him at the same time. So that's the drama of Radharani. Yeah? Radharani is externally rejects Krishna, but internally she's in the deepest anxiety and separation, and she's suffering because she's, you know, acting contrary. You know, we hear about the nectar of devotion. You know, so it's contrary. You know, you understand? So externally she's doing something, internally she's feeling something else. You know, and that is very deep, very sweet. You know, it's very intense. You know, and that's what Krishna, that's why Radharani is supreme, because actually she would never reject Krishna in her heart, never. You know? The more she externally rejects him, the more she's internally hankering for him, actually. You know? Whereas the right-wing mood, there is some Aishwarya, no, there's some fear, actually. You know? Maybe if I do something wrong, Krishna won't like me. You know? Radharani is not afraid at all. But at the same time, she's very much afraid, and she's suffering, you know, when she has separation from Krishna. So all of this is achintya. I'm also just, in theory, from what I've heard and read, you know, trying to explain. But that's why Radharani is supreme, because she is fully surrendered to Krishna. You know? There is nothing else for Radharani than Krishna. You know? They are actually one. You know, we know that it's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We learn that actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, and Radha Krishna are non-different. You know, Radha Krishna Naha Anya. You know, they are one actually. And usually we hear that, you know, Radha and Krishna merged into one body. You know, became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna assumed the golden color of Radharani, so he could tolerate the ecstasy of separation. You know? So Krishna could not tolerate the ecstasy of separation, you know, from Krishna. No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the devotee, he comes as a devotee, and he could have not tolerated that ecstasy. So he was protected by Radharani. That's why he you know, he has this color of Radharani. But actually in the Chaitanya Charitamrita we hear that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, is the origin as well. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, you know, divided himself into Radharani and Krishna. It goes that way as well. You know? So it's not that Krishna and Radha Krishna were in the beginning and then only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Actually, some descriptions would say the opposite, the way around. That, you know, of course, both are eternal realities. You know? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna are eternal realities. But they are inseparable. Even sometimes they appear in this separate, you know, identities. In reality, they are inseparable. And that is, you know, difficult to understand. My spiritual master, he asked Prabhupada a very interesting question when he was visiting New Mayapur in France many years ago. I think it was 1976. Najuna Swami asked Srila Prabhupada, how is it that you're saying that a pure devotee is always remembering Krishna. You know? And the memory of Krishna, you know, and the intensity, a pure devotee never forgets Krishna. So he's always connected with Krishna. So how is it that a pure devotee is missing Krishna? You know? How is it possible? You know? So if a pure devotee is always connected with Krishna and is always remembering Krishna, not for a second is forgetting Krishna, how is it possible? It's maybe a slightly different question, but that was the point he was asking. And Prabhupada answered, you will know when you experience it. So there is no material explanation for that. But it's the reality. You know? The gopis, they experience the most intense form of separation. Even Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. You know, we know that. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, right? As soon as Krishna steps out of Vrindavan, he's not Krishna anymore. Who is he then? Vasudev. You know? As soon as Krishna steps out of Vrindavan, he's not Krishna anymore, actually. He's Vasudev. He is Krishna, you know, but it's not really Krishna. It's not Vrajanandana, you know. He's Vasudev Krishna, you know. And even it's not visible, in different times he manifests his Vasudev features, you know. You will hear, for example, how when Krishna went to kill this demon who captured all the 16,000 queens. I forgot the name of the queen. Somebody remembers the demon? Was it Baumasura? Wasn't Baumasura the one with 1,000 arms? Huh? Baumasura? So when Krishna went to, you know, defeat Baumasura, he mounted Garuda and he used his chakra, you know. So it's Vasudev Krishna, you know. Vrindavan Krishna, he will not manifest chakra, Shankar, you know. That's not him. So Krishna never left Vrindavan, actually. So how is it that all the gopis and Radharani are missing Krishna so much? So that's exactly the question that Juna Swami asked, you know. How is it? You know? It's because, of course we read in some explanations, Prabhupada also gives, that actually Viraha Bhava or Vipralamba Bhava, the separation of Radha and Krishna, the separation a devotee experiences from Krishna, actually is the deepest connection you can experience. You know, Viraha or separation of Krishna, the pain of separation, is actually much sweeter, you know, than the connection with Krishna. So that's very interesting. And Srila Prabhupada then encourages actually, that actually we, and this is a very good condition actually. Why? Because if you become a devotee, and you understand Krishna, and you realize, well, I'm separated from Krishna, then you should feel separation. You know? So for us, actually, it should not be so difficult. You know? We can actually cultivate this mood of separation because we are separated from Krishna, and we should emulate, you know, that desperation, you know, and cry for Krishna in desperation. You know, this viraha bhava. The more we have the sensation of viraha and separation, we will actually become eligible to actually really connect with Krishna. You know? Therefore, in the Nectar of Devotion, the first symptom of ecstasy is explained. Who knows? What is the first symptom of ecstasy? Somebody knows? The first symptom of ecstasy? The first symptom of ecstasy is repentance. Mm-hmm. So when you repent and you realize, I'm so stupid, you know, I'm such a rascal, I've done so much nonsense, you know, I've wasted so much time, you know, I'm just still in this material world, you know, what I'm doing here, you know. So when you really repent, you know, and this repentance is connected with this, you know, lamentation in separation from Krishna. Right? So that's how actually we start on our path of bhava or ecstasy. You know, if we don't have that as a foundation, we won't get there. You know, You cannot imitate it, by trying to, feel like a gopi, doesn't work, What we have to do is be very honest, If you're very honest about all our mistakes, our shortcomings, our weaknesses, and we repent them, the more we have this ability to honestly reflect upon our shortcomings, our problems, but not indulge in them in a way that you think, about self-defeatism, that you think there's no hope, You should use that sensation of hopelessness to connect with Krishna, So we should dovetail, that desperation, that, weak position we are in, to lament for Krishna, ask for Krishna. The more we do that, the more at one point we might be able to feel, this intense, bhavas and, moods of separation and love, for Krishna that the gopis experienced, or Srimati Radharani showed. So but it's very important to understand in what mood, because one devotee, or some devotees, many devotees, let's say, sometimes we indulge in self-pityness. So, I'm the most fallen. I am useless. I'm a worm in stool. Very depressing. So I remember one time I was like indulging in this mood, with one devotee, and then this devotee gave me a very enlightening lecture about the uselessness of self-pityness. Self-pityness. So self-pityness is when you just lament about, how bad and horrible you are. Self-pity, because self-pityness is not at all constructive, at all. It's not going anywhere. So it might not be so easy to turn the switch properly, but actually it's possible, and I've done it. Sometimes it works, when you feel really for some reason, demotivated, not really sure, and doubts, and so many difficulties we encounter, the senses, the mind, if we can dovetail that sensation of self-pityness or defeat with separation of Krishna, it's like I am, this means I'm separated from Krishna. So if you manage to move that mood of self-pityness, which is usually very unproductive, doesn't do anything. If you move that towards, missing Krishna, then it becomes quite productive. Then it can be very helpful. So we have this three very beautiful prayers we just chanted before, to the three principal forms of Radha and Krishna. Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda Deva, and Radha Gopinatha. So those three deities are the predominant deities, of Vrindavan, but also they are predominating the three steps that we can take, that we should take in devotional service. So those three prayers actually exemplify the steps that we should undergo. So the first one is Sambandha. Sambandha Adidevas. So Sambandha Adideva, here we have Radha Madan Mohan in the picture on the wall. Radha Madan Mohan, they used to be here, already 24 years or 25 years ago. A quarter century ago they left, so we're still missing them. Radha Madan Mohan, the prayer is Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madan Mohano. I am, how you call it? Somebody who can't walk. I'm a cripple, I'm lame, I'm lame, I'm useless, Please, Radha Madan Mohan, give me shelter and protect me, help me, So that's the mood of the first step that we need to take to Radha and Krishna. That we have to understand our crippled situation. We have to be honest about our shortcomings and take shelter of Radha Madan Mohan. Why? Because he is Madan Mohan. He can remove illusion, you know. He can remove lust, you know. He can do it, you know. And Radharani, of course, is Madan Mohan Mohini, you know. So Krishna, he can even, you know, put under illusion, a spell, Cupid, you know, or lust personified, you know. Lust personified is Cupid, Kamadeva. And it's also one of the Gayatri mantras if you're a Brahmana. The Gayatri mantras, the last Gayatri mantra focuses on Kamadeva. Krishna is the ultimate Kamadeva, you know. There is Kamadeva, Cupid, you know, causing a lot of trouble, and, you know, a lot of, you know, the whole world is run by Kamadeva in one sense, you could say, you know. He's in control. But Krishna controls Kamadeva. Kamadeva pales in comparison to Krishna. You know, Kamadeva is extremely attractive. You know, super attractive. You know, he can allure anybody. You know, but Kamadeva, you know, is ashamed in the presence of Krishna, of Madan Mohan. You know? So Madan Mohan, he has the ability to capture Kamadeva, to actually, you know, take this attraction we have for material senses, for, you know, a sense enjoyment within matter. Madan Mohan, he can help us, you know, get away from that. So we should be honest, admit our limitations, and take shelter of Madan Mohan. And Radharani, she is supreme, you know, because she is Madan Mohan Mohini, you know. So she can, you know, attract even the one, or you could say bewilder, even the one who bewilders Kamadeva. That's Radharani. So Radharani is the most powerful. She's supreme. And this, in different situations, Prabhupada also talks about it, you know, how Radharani ultimately is supreme. She is the one who actually controls even Krishna, you know, or can even attract Krishna. So that's the first step. We take shelter of Radha Madan Mohan. And then in the second step, we take shelter of Radha Govinda. Radha Govinda Deva. And the description of this verse is very beautiful. No? It describes Krishna, Radha and Govinda sitting on a beautiful throne. And the mood of the second mantra, Sambandha Adi Abhideya, Abhideya Pranam, is to do service. So that's the second step, service. So that's the two main places where we should have our focus. You know, first, be always honest. Whenever you find some difficulty, we should pray to Radha Madan Mohan. Radha Madan Mohan, they are our shelter. And I have to say, it's very powerful. Whenever I give a lecture and I forget to chant this mantra, usually I don't give a good lecture. Maybe it's only, you know, placebo. But my feeling is whenever I chant this mantra to Radha Madan Mohan, they give some blessings. You know, they're very merciful. You know. They are for the most fallen, you know, available and accessible. And then once we have established ourselves in some level of purity, we are empowered to serve Radha Govinda. You know, any service we do in the temple, you know, it's ultimately a service for Radha Govinda. Here, of course, we have Prahlad and Singha, you know, as the predominating deities, but we also have the Panchatattva. You know, in the Panchatattva, everything is there. Radha and Krishna is also there, you know, twice. Yeah. As Gadadhar Pandit and also Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he is also Radha and Krishna. So any service we do in the temple, you know, it's a service to Radha Govinda. Radha Govinda is described as sitting in a beautiful kunja, you know, on a Simhasana throne, decorated with beautiful flowers and jewels. So these arrangements, it's what we're doing technically regularly, you know. Every day we decorate the temple, we decorate the altar, we clean the temple room, we cook, we grow food, you know, we prepare, you know, the areas around for people to come, you know, we clean the grass for people to come and, you know, join the temple. And all of that is just a preparation, or it's you could say a parallel universe to what the pure devotees are also doing, you know. They're also just preparing the meeting of Radha and Krishna. You know? They're cleaning the kunjas, they're cooking, they're cutting vegetables, they're doing everything. They're cleaning, they're inviting people to come, when there's somebody new coming, and you are introduced, Like once I read a description, was very interesting. When you come to the spiritual world, there's a guard, I was like, who are you? Where's your recommendation letter? So it's truly like that. In the spiritual world, you also need a recommendation, Even within ISKCON, if you travel to a different ISKCON temple, it's very smart to bring a recommendation letter from the previous temple. If you don't bring a recommendation letter, some temples won't let you stay, So you bring your recommendation letter, So what is our recommendation letter? Our recommendation letter is our Guru Parampara. This is our recommendation letter. So you say, oh, my Gurudev, I was like, Gurudev, okay. And he's Gurudev? Prabhupada, And he's Gurudev? Okay. You come in, Very nice description I read once, how when you come to the spiritual world, they want to know, what is your connection, Who are you, You cannot just enter, you have to show your credentials, what is your connection? And then you already have a family, Everybody's there, your guru, your parama guru, everybody's there, your god brothers, That's what Prabhupada used to say, ISKCON also exists in the spiritual world, because we have our families, there's different families, in the spiritual world that serve Radha and Krishna. And everything we're doing here is just a preparation, it's the same thing, it's exactly the same thing, on a different level, of course, but it's the same thing. We will also cook for Krishna, we will also worship Krishna, we will also make flowers, pot washing for Krishna, We hear about a few Goswamis, who in their meditation, they were cooking milk, They were cooking milk, and then they were distracted, and the milk overcooked, and they were trying to keep the foam, oh no, my God, If you ever cooked milk, stressful moment, Shh, oh, it's too late, and you're trying to save it somehow. So we experience that here also, sometimes. And we have descriptions, the manjaris are doing exactly the same thing. They're cooking milk for Krishna, and it overcooks, and then they burn their hands, and then the Goswamis, they wake up, and their hands are really burned, So, yes, everything we're doing here, we also will do in the spiritual world, It's exactly the same thing. So this is Radha Govinda, we worship Krishna, and this is actually the main focus Srila Prabhupada strongly emphasized, especially in the 4th canto. There's a whole sequence of descriptions when Prabhupada describes the qualifications of a Brahmin. He describes how the qualification of a Brahmin, or the main purpose of having Brahmin, Divya, second initiation, Dvija, to become a twice born, is to worship the deity. If you don't want to worship the deity, Srila Prabhupada says there's no reason to really take second initiation, actually. And then he emphasizes that the mood we worship Radha and Krishna is like Lakshmi Narayan. And Radha Govinda is also similar. Radha Govinda, they're sitting on a big throne, it's very royal, That's the mood of Radha Govinda. There's some reverence and worship and service, and it's all very formal in some ways. And this is the safe position that we should approach Radha and Krishna when we worship Radha and Krishna. We should actually not think of Radha Krishna necessarily as in all his intimate pastimes. That's not really our level, Prabhupada very clearly emphasizes again and again in those purports in the 4th canto that we should worship and see Radha and Krishna. We should approach them, even it's Radha Krishna there, and we call them, Radha Gopinath or Radha Shama Sundar. Still, we should worship them as Lakshmi Narayan. The aspect of Lakshmi Narayan is also present in Radha and Krishna. So we worship them like the king and queen. That's our approach. We worship them like the king and queen. And this is my personal opinion only, but I think that before in ISKCON we used to address the deities much more with crowns, actually, with very nice traditional mukuts, traditional mukuts. Now we're doing almost basically only turbans, and Mangalarti, for Mangalarti maybe there's crowns, But actually, traditionally, if you see the temples in Vrindavan, they use mukut, like quite opulent mukuts, and not necessarily Vrindavan style turbans. And I think also it looks very beautiful. If you look at Radha Madan Mohan here, it's, in my opinion, a timeless picture. It's a timeless picture. It's Radha Madan Mohan. Many other pictures, they look a little bit like carnival. Which is not saying it's not trying to criticize it, but this mood that you see in this picture is, I think, what Prabhupada is describing in the 4th canto, that we should worship Radha and Krishna very beautifully, very clean, like Lakshmi Narayan, opulent. Whereas sometimes we are maybe prematurely imitating Vrindavan. I'm saying maybe, it's only my humble opinion. So, and then of course the last one is Gopinatha, Radha Gopinath, and that's very intimate, Radha Gopinath. There's a beautiful temple in Jaipur, Radha Gopinath. If you go to Jaipur, you should go there. So Radha Govinda and Radha Gopinath, they're not too far apart in Jaipur. And in the Radha Gopinath temple, whenever I go there, I have this feeling that you are so close, but so far away, You're sitting there in front of Radha Gopinath, the deities of Madhu Pandit, the Tulasi cap, hat and the Tulasi kurta of Madhu Pandit is there, and Radha Gopinath is there with Lalita, I think, and Vishaka, Radharani, I forgot. And you can feel this mood and all this, Rajasthani ladies, they're chanting with so much vigor and devotion and love. And, it's such a powerful, intense place, such a beautiful place. And at the same time, you have this sensation, well, I'm so far away, Radha Gopinath, it's pretty far away for us, for me at least, But still, we have the opportunity to go there and be a few meters away, from those amazing deities of Radha Gopinath. So these are the 3 aspects: Sambandha, Videya, and Prajojana. Prajojana is the goal. Ultimately, the goal is, of course, to be directly involved in the pastimes, and Radha and Krishna serve in whatever capacity, and that's also what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give freely. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give Krishna prema, and specifically in the mood of the gopis. That was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So, yes, those 3 steps, Sambandha, Avideya, Prajojana. If you take shelter of those 3 transcendental couples, success is assured. Shri Shri Radhika Giridhari ki jai, Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Govinda Deva ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol, Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. So now Sandhya Artik. Kiva Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Arati Kaso Shri Radhika Giridhari ki Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandir Arati Kosobham. Kiva Jaya Jaya Gara Chande Arati Kosobham. Arati Kosobham. Jana Vitatavane Jagamana Loba Jagamana Loba Jana Vitatavane Jagamana Loba Jana Vitatavane Jagamana Loba Kivadakine Nitahe Chand Vamegadadaram Kivadakine Nitahe Chand Vamegadadara Vamegadadara Ekate Advaita Srini Vasachatradara Ekate Advaita Vasachatradara Nikate Advaita Srini Vasachatradara Nikate Advaita Srini Vasachatradara Ivavasi Ache Gorachan Ratna Singhasane Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Kivavasi Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Yache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Arati Karen Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Karena Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Karen Brahma Adi Devagane Kevanarari Adhikari
Chamaradulaya. Kevanarari Adhikari Chamaradulaya. Adhikari Chamaradulaya. Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gachadigaya. Gachadigaya. Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gachadigaya. Gachadigaya. Kiva Shankha Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala. Kiva Shankha Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala. Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala. Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala. Paramarasala. Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala. Paramarasala. Shankha Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje. Shankha Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje. Ganta Bhaje Madhur 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 Bhaje. Madhur 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 Bhaje. Hey Madhur 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 Bhaje. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur. Ki Baba ho kate Chandra jine Vadana Uchvala. Ke Baba ho kate Chandra jine Varana Uchvala. Kate Chandra jine Varana Uchvala. Gala deche vanamala Kare Jalamala O Gala Desi Vanamala Kare Jalamala Kare Jalamala Kiva Shiva Sukha Narada Premigada Gada Kiva Shiva Sukha Narada Premigada Gada Sukha Narada Premigada Gada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhi Gaurara Sampada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhi Gaurara Sampada Kiva Jaya Jaya Gara Chandir Arati Kasoba Arati Kasoba Jana Vitatavani Jagamanalava Jagamanalova Gaurangera Ratikshova Jaga Janamanalova Gaurangera Ratikshova Jaga Janamanalova Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Nitai Gaura Riva 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 Nitai Gaura Riva Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Gauranga. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radhika Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Sri Radhe. Jaya Radhika Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Sri Radhe. Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Radhika Giridhari Sri Radhe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite. Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite. Mandala Maite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Vrishabhanudade Navasachileke Lalita Shaki Guna Ramita Vishake Nudade Navasachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Vrishabhanudade Navasachileke Lalita Shaki Guna Ramita Vishake Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Mandala Maite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Vrishabhanudade Navachachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vichake Navachachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vichake Karuna Kuru Mae Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Karunam Kuru Mai Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Vrishabhanudade Navachachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Tade Navachachileke Lalita Saka Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Karunam Kuru Mae Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Rumae Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Vrishabhanudade Navachachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vichake Dade Navachachileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vichake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Karunam Kuru Mae Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Gokula Tarune Mandala Maite Vrishabandhu Dadhe Navotsa Chilake Lalita Saki Gunaramita Visake Sita Saki Gunaramita Visake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Madhava Daite Karunam Kuru Mae Karuna Varete Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Sanaka Sanatana Ramita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radhe Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Maramohan Radha Maramohan Shri Radhe Radha Mohan Radha Madamohan Radha Madamohan Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madamohan Radha Madamohan Shri Radhe Radha Madamohan Radha Madamohan Shri Radhe Sanatana der pranadana hai Sanatanir pranadana hai Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe रूप को स्वामीर प्राणधाना है रूप को स्वामीर प्राणधाना है जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ श्री राधे राधा गोपीनाथ श्री राधे माधु पंडितर प्राणधाना है माधु पंडितर प्राणधाना है जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे राधा माधव श्री राधे प्रभुपाद देर प्राणदान है प्रभुपाद देर प्राणदान है जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे जय राधिका गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी श्री राधे जय राधिका गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी श्री राधे गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी राधिका गिरिधारी श्री राधे Simhachali Vasir Pranadana He Simhachalam Vasir Pranadana He Jaya Radhika Giridhare Radhika Giridhare Radhika Giridhare Sri Radhe Radhika Giridhare Radhika Giridhare Sri Radhe Shri Shri Radhika Giridhare Ki Jai Shri Radhastami Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Singare Bhagwan Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Brahmanande Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shlari Rastakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Giridhari Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhika Giridhari Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhika Giridhari Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhika Giridhari Ki Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Singare Bhagwan Ki Jai Jagannath Baladeswara Maharani Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Varshana Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Simhachalam Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Harinama Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Brihat Mridanga Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhastami Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Brahmanande. All glorious assembled devotees. Alle Ehre dem versammelten Gottgeweihten. Alle Ehre dem versammelten Gottgeweihten. Alle Ehre Shai Shri Guru und Shri Guranga. Alle Ehre Shai Shri Prabhupada. Jai.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Ashilatankana Kalaye Shilatankana Kalaye Ito Nirsimho Parato Nirsimho Ito Nirsimho Parato Nirsimho Ito Nirsimho Parato Nirsimho Ito Nirsimho Parato Nirsimho Yato yato yami tato nisimgo. Yato yato yami tato nisimo. Bahir nisimho, hridaye nisimo. Bahir nisimho, hridaye nisimo. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye. O tavakara kamalavare nakamadbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupam Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha, Lakshmi Nrsimha, Lakshmi Nrsimha, Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai. Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, oh Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nisimha Jayo Prahlad Nisimha Jayo Prahlad Nisimha Jayo Prahlad Nisimha Jaya Prahlad Nisimha Jaya Prahlad Nisimha Prahlad Nisimha Jaya Prahlad Nisimha Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jai Shri Prabhu Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan ki Jai Shri Radhastami Mahotsava ki Jai Who wants to sing next? Who wants to sing next? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Shri Radhastami ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Gaura Premanande Haribo.